the shop be open?
It certainly would. Come on in.
Here we go. I'm going to sit down here between these two gentlemen. And, whoops, if I can get my legs in here. Mike Miller, second time we've done this.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And Steve Ginglebach.
Yes.
They get it right as long as I'm not in Germany.
As long as you're not in Germany, you're fine. In Kentucky, you're perfect.
We got it right. I'll tell you, I'm a wannabe gun maker.
Yep.
I whittle away at it. I'm building a couple right now, but I'm sitting with a couple of fellows that I know can teach me a lot.
Yeah.
So.
We'd be happy to speed you along.
The neat part of this is we're at Martin Station, and not only do both of you interpret here as gun makers, but you were here at the construction.
Yes. I was here from the very first of it. When Billy got hired on here, the first event we did was a living history timeline along where the railroad track used to be over there. And this whole field was growed up in horseweeds and sawbriars and poison ivy. They had to bush hog a spot for us to even do it, and so it was pretty stobby. But we set up a timeline there and did that, and then as time went by, we started construction on the different, on the fort and the different cabins.
Actually used oxen.
Yes, we did. We had oxen. They brought the logs in and dropped them, and it was like they opened up that Lincoln log box and just poured them all out. And we had a pretty good oxen here at the time, and I'd just wheel him around, back him up to it, and snap the chains and come up, and he'd just pull a log out, and we'd break it over here and start whittling away at it.
It's where I start was with the big tree, but
yeah, but a little more finesse when you get it whittled down, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you, last time I saw you, I think you had, I forget how many orders ahead of you or years ahead of you in terms of orders. Where are we at now?
It was almost 5 years then, and I'm down to about 4.5 now. I'm working a little harder to get them caught up.
So it's not that people don't like your product, you're just catching up.
I'm not finding they don't like it. They seem to be, most people seem to be okay with them.
Sure. I talked about getting on that waiting list.
Yes.
And you're actually back at it full time.
Yes, I'm making rifles full time again, and I'm at about 2 years on my waiting list right now. I got a pretty good boost when I got the Tennessee State Rifle Project. That gave me exposure that I probably wouldn't have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been going to a lot of shows and things, and I'm finding people are real receptive to the Southern Appalachian guns. Mm-hmm. So it's a good spot for me to be in. I've been around those rifles all my life, and so I'm doing what I know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'm just thinking, you fellows get to interpret here. You're living the dream. You're
Absolutely.
Yeah. So do you both volunteer here?
Mm-hmm.
Is that how it
Yes.
works?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it
Yes.
an ongoing thing? Like,
I've been doing it since 2006 consistently. I've been in Long Hunter for about 2 years, and then Billy Heck asked me if I'd come down here and work in the gunsmith shop, and I started coming down about 2008.
okay.
And been doing it every year since then.
It's worth pointing out that these fellows definitely aren't from Canada, of your accent. So you're both from Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Cane country there.
He's a little bit north of me right now and a little bit east of me, and I'm a little bit south, almost in Tennessee.
Okay. You did make an offer for me to come down and you tutor me.
Absolutely.
It's still open?
Sure, come on.
I love it. How about you, Steve?
Sure,
Similar
come ahead.
offer?
Yeah, you're welcome.
You guys must have some Kentucky stories. Like I go back to Daniel Boone, Walt Disney in the 50s and the 60s, and
Absolutely.
and we have this image of what rural Kentucky's like. Has it changed?
Somewhat.
Well, to some degree.
Our versions of Kentucky are pretty similar. We live in the hills.
Hinterland.
We both got over 100 acres, and we both live in woods on hills. And so he's got hills back behind him. I've got hills below me.
Okay.
And we hunt on our property. We can shoot on our property. We can go out and camp if we want to and not see anybody, hear anybody.
Yeah. You must have a tale of Kentucky to share with me.
I believe we could come up with one. Yeah, we could come
Like a
up
story.
with
Wee bit of a story.
wee bit of a story. All right, well, I'll tell you a little story.
Okay.
This was when I was a young feller. when I first was learning the ins and outs of operating with a muzzle-loading rifle, I left Grandma's house, went up on the ridge, and there's a lot of hickory trees up there, good squirrel hunting country. So I'd hear tell about barking a squirrel, and the rifle I was carrying was about 44 caliber, and if you load them up full, they're a little hard on a squirrel. So I was just sandering along the edge of the ridge there and treed up a pretty fox squirrel, good heavy-bodied fella, great for the dumplings. Mm-hmm. So I sandered around there, and I couldn't get him, like squirrels often will do. He'd run around the backside of the tree, and so me and him quailed around the tree about half a dozen times. He finally stopped up, nose down, just sitting up, and but there's a limb in front of him, and I couldn't get much closer. And I thought, well, I've heard tell all about this barking the squirrel thing and whatnot, so I'll just pop him right under his nose and bark him, and that'll be just right. Well, I up with the rifle, crack it went. I hit just right about here. He's just folded up and fell right on the ground. And I thought, no, that's the way of doing it. There ain't a bit of mark on him anywhere or anything. Yep. This is no meat loss. You could eat from the tail to the nose. So I picked him up, looked at him, and his eyes didn't look quite right for a dead squirrel. But I was headed back to the house because there's a skillet waiting for me with some bacon grease in it. So I started going back to the house, and I got down about the foot of the ridge. I felt him move, and I thought, well, that's different. So further I went, the more he got to moving around. And I got to looking at him, and he kind of looked up at me, and it's like, hey, this ain't right, turn me loose. And I thought, no, I've got a hold of you. You're going to the house. And he turned on me, and see that scar right there? That's where he latched on right there. And they used to say you couldn't get a snapping turtle to turn loose of you till it thundered. Yeah. A squirrel's a whole lot like that. Once they get a hold of you, they don't turn you loose very quick. So me and him went around and around a few times. I finally got him loose, and he kind of took a little bump on the tree, a good one this time, and he made it to the skillet the next time around. Yeah, he was still supper, but it cost me. Yeah.
Well, it's a visual reminder, of a memory. How about you, Mike? You must have a Kentucky story.
My funniest story did not come from me. It came from a dear friend, Don Bowman. He was a Kentucky Corps long rifleman. He said, I went squirrel hunting one day, and I saw this squirrel about 60 yards off, furthest I had ever shot a squirrel. So I took aim on him. All I could see was his head sticking up over the branch. I fired. That squirrel fell right down to the ground. Well, I had to go through a creek and come up on the other side, and I located the tree. I'm looking around, I can't find the squirrel. Well, all of a sudden, squirrel jumps up on the tree that I shot him out of. Well, that's not right. So he had a long knife, and he reaches over and he grabs his knife, and he went and stuck the squirrel to the tree and killed it. And he pulled it off the tree, and he said, well, that's the way to do it. And he turned around and stepped on the one that he had shot.
That's a grand story. Grand story.
I said, you liar. I swear it's true.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Now, since we're talking about Kentucky stories, I'll just go ahead and tell you right now.
Absolutely.
Kentucky stories are always 110% pure truth.
Yeah, no embellishment at all.
None whatsoever. No. We're known to not embellish a tale anywhere.
So you don't need to.
I'm waiting for the lightning to come through the
roof. You don't.
That could be.
Okay, this interview's over.
Yeah, that could be a slight exaggeration right there.
So you don't need embellishment to have a good story from Kentucky?
No, you don't really need embellishment, but the funny thing is I come out of a long line of storytellers, and what I learned as a kid is all stories has a grain of truth in them somewhere.
If you look hard enough. Yeah, for sure, if you look hard enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, you've got a gun over here on the bench, Mike.
Yes, I am.
We'll look over here at Steve's in a sec, but you want to see what stage you're at that one?
Well, a little over a year ago, I married a woman that has become my best friend.
I finally met her today.
Yes, you did. And I decided that after several people said, does your wife shoot? No. Well, why not? I said, well, she didn't have a gun. She shoots some more modern things, but she doesn't have a gun right now. And she goes, "Do you think she knows somebody that could build her one?"
Right.
I went, "Okay." So this little
Hint
rifle is
taken.
about a 3/4 sized rifle, like she is, and she's going to be able to shoot squirrels or deer with it. Hopefully, she's a
Yeah.
good shooter, so I'm not doubting her skills. It's just whether or not the gun works.
I think
So-
it's going to work, Mike. I have no doubt. Shall we have a look?
Yes,
Yeah, let's
I'm
have
at,
a look at it.
the point of right now. I'm carving it, doing some of the background carving off of it and the relief on it. It's going to have a couple of inlays, a pretty nice patch box on it, and
What caliber?
it's a 45 with about a
choice.
37-inch barrel, so it's about right for her size.
Won't poke her too hard.
Nope, won't poke her a bit. She'll just be fine.
Wow. I'm definitely going to make my way down for that tutorial.
Come on, whenever you're ready.
Okay, let's have a look at what Mike's doing. Yours is not quite at that stage.
No, mine is still well in the beginning stages.
So what do we have here, Steve?
Okay, this is what I'm normally making. I'm sort of concentrating on Southern Appalachian rifles. The majority of them were iron mounted, very darkly stained guns. Black comes to mind mostly on them. This is a pattern that I repaired an original some years ago and took a pattern off of it. And the owner of it said it was a family rifle. They came to Kentucky in 1780, and they had come from Russell County, Virginia. And the rifle that I copied was supposed to have been carried from there.
Okay.
So and Russell is just a little ways north and east of here, not too far. So this when it's done will be iron mounted, a relatively flat butt plate, a nice long bow trigger guard, set triggers, English lock. The barrel is an older Getz barrel that I still had. It's a 45-inch long, 45 caliber Getz barrel. What I found overlooking at a lot of originals, 45 inches seems to be a pretty good round number for Virginia guns. The upper East Tennessee guns very often tend to be a little longer yet, 48-ish inches.
You've got a ways to go, Steve, to catch up to Mike.
Yeah.
You're over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
This
to.
isn't going to be as refined, but yeah, you got a long way to go.
No, it's not going to be as refined. I'm probably going to have to start early and stay late to get caught up.
I don't know which one of you mentioned it to me, but you were talking, it was either you, Mike, in a previous meeting we had, or you, Steve, that said something about you were inletting a stock by hand scratch build, and someone came along and said, well, I could do that in an hour or less with a router.
Yeah.
And then one of you said, well, yeah, but it wouldn't have a sole. I'm not sure.
Well, and that was a conversation I had at Friendship with a fella. He was informing me that I could inlet my barrels a whole lot quicker with a router and modern machinery and whatnot. And I told him right there that, yeah, it'd be fine, but that rifle would lack its sole. And I turned off, I said, knock that right there and it's solid. The only hole in there is the ramrod hole. When you're doing that high speed, end up routing out this right here to the ramrod hole, so it ends up kind of holler there. But the why I refer to them as not having a sole is very often the hand construction details are not there.
Well, I know I've handled yours the last time you had 2 or 3 here. And, I think I was going to buy one, but then I thought I might have to talk to the wife first about that. But,
Yeah.
Mistake.
but yeah, the balance, the feel of a handmade from scratch rifle versus any kit production is night and
Totally
day.
different.
Yeah.
Totally different. The
Yes.
balance of your guns, Mike, were absolutely incredible. I've yet to have one of your finished ones, Steve, but
Well,
I look forward to it.
I hope you do get to sometime. I tell you a little bit about my outlook too. Is I made rifles a long time ago and then stopped for a while. Then I've restarted in my retirement. And one of the things I decided I was going to do this time around was I'm going to stay wholly in hand tool, hand construction.
Adds a few hours to it.
It does,
Can.
but I'm not using sandpaper. I'm using scrapers and things like that.
Yep.
So what I'm ending up with is the finish looks like Appalachian finishes from
from the time
decades ago or generations ago. So, and it's and I don't mean any insult to other people. You can buy a piece of wood in a barrel and put it in there any way you want to. That's the fellow that's making its business. But for me, at my point in life and everything right now, I want to create something that is like a step closer to what was being done in my ancestral area. So,
as have you, Mike. I mean, yours is we're looking at a piece that we're stepping back in time. It's
That's
not
right.
done in a CNC machine, and yeah, for
No.
sure. Well, you guys have inspired me. I've got 3 blanks hanging up, drying in my gun making shop. Working on a couple of kits now, but the next one's going to be my first scratch build, start to finish, and
It's an adventure.
yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It's
Yeah.
been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Well,
Steve,
thank you. Appreciate you
I
seeing
can't
us.
thank you enough. And,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
you're welcome.
Yeah, I wish I was a wee bit closer. I'd be definitely
I
taking
do
you
too.
up on that offer, and I'd probably be knocking on your door for a little counsel.
Well,
as well.
that would
We're not
be
that far-
fine.
we're
You're
not
you're
far
more than
apart.
welcome.
Not too far apart, but
No.
I'm far apart.
You are.
Yeah, you're far apart. But I tell you, if you show up in our part of the country, we could take you up on a ridge somewhere, and you could have a try at barking one of them
It
squirrels.
sounds good, gentlemen. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate
Okay.
it.